In his third NBA season, Ayo Dosunmu is quickly becoming one of the better two-way guards across the league. In this video, we're going to look at the specific improvements Ayo has made to his game this year, and how he's been able to have a huge impact on the court. Now, the first major improvement Ayo has made this season is going to be his outside shooting. So far this year, Ayo is shooting a solid 40% on all his catch and shoot threes, which is a pretty big jump compared to his numbers last year. Now, most of Dosunmu's outside looks are just your standard spot-up threes, where Ayo's spacing out on the perimeter, and he capitalizes off of the gravity of one of Chicago's playmakers. Right here, you'll see DeMar DeRozan playing one-on-one at the slot, with Ayo spotting up on the opposite wing. And when DeRozan spins back towards the middle, notice how he pulls this gap defender across the nail, which opens up this kick-out pass back up to Ayo. We can see the same effect on this play, where Nikola Vucevic is working in the post, and when Dosunmu's man takes one step too deep in gap, the ball's gonna immediately get sprayed back out for another 3 points. And Dosunmu also generates a good amount of threes in transition, where he loves to fill a lane and space out, which generates more of these open catch and shoot threes. When getting into these shots on the move, I also think Ayo has really improved his footwork and balance into his shot, being able to sprint to open spots, to then settle his feet and rise up for a stable shot. On this play, watch how smoothly Ayo finds his base into his jumper, by simply catching and stepping left-right, to then rise up in one smooth motion.
And Ayo's looking for three. It's a long twitch.
Now, one area of improvement I still see for Ayo is going to be his shooting off the dribble. Ayo's percentages on pull-up threes are currently nothing to write home about. And I'm not saying that Ayo needs to become Steph Curry and start launching 30-foot stepbacks, but I would love to see Dosunmu add some one-dribble pull-ups to his game out of pick and roll, being able to simply rise up and punish these soft coverages by the defense, which I think would add a whole bunch of juice to Ayo's scoring and on-ball creation. But regardless of that, defenses are still starting to respect Ayo as an outside shooter, which in return opens up his downhill scoring. When spotting up and playing off the catch, Ayo now draws some pretty heavy closeouts, which gives him the leverage to create downhill drives right on the catch. And Ayo does have a pretty good feel of reading the defense's momentum and attacking into their gravity. Right here, you'll see Ayo catch this pass on the left wing, and when this defender closes out, notice how Ayo is going to rip back across into the defense's momentum, which allows him to cleanly blow by the defense to then extend into this layup. Now, as a scorer, I think Ayo does his best work in transition, where he racks up points by both filling a lane and running out into layups, as well as leading the break himself. Physically, Dosunmu has a unique blend of speed, strength, and length, which makes him really effective when handling the ball on the break, simply being able to put the defense on their heels, to then overwhelm them with all his physical tools. You'll see him here going at this defender full speed, and from this spot, Ayo isn't going to do anything super advanced off the dribble. He's just going to gather the ball off his left foot, to then step into the defense and find a window to finish. I love this move here, where the ball is going to get advanced up to Ayo, and notice how he's going to again pick up ahead of steam, which puts the defense on their heels. Then from here, watch how Ayo is going to sink his way into his right foot, and get to this push cross back towards his left. Then he's going to cut the angle back across, to extend this layup past the shot blocker. And all those physical tools translate right over to Ayo's attacking game in the half court, where Dosunmu again loves to use his speed and length to attack into open space. You'll see him here pick up momentum off the dribble by skipping off his left foot. Then he replants it, which shoots him into this drive.
30 points for the first time in his NBA career, Ayo Dosunmu.
Now on this play, Ayo's going to get to the same move going left, where this time he's going to skip off his right foot to then replant it and push himself downhill. Then watch how Ayo is going to take one big step into the shot blocker's body, which bounces him underneath the basket and gives Ayo a window to finish. Off the bounce, Ayo also plays with pretty good pace, constantly changing his speed and setting up angles to get blow-bys. You'll see him here get the switch against Tyrese Haliburton, and watch how Ayo is just going to take one casual step back to then launch himself into this drive, and he blows past Haliburton like he's a traffic cone. I like this move here, where Dosunmu is going to catch and face up, then watch him push the ball to his right hand and gallop his feet up, which gives him the momentum to explode into this drive. Then he's going to use that reach to extend up into a runner across the paint. I also think Dosunmu's pace and pick and roll this year has gotten much better, adding these little change of pace hesitations as he turns the corner, which freezes the drop big, allowing Ayo to extend out into these finishes. Right here, you'll see Ayo working off the screen in semi-transition, and as he comes off, notice how Torrey Craig is also going to cut across the middle. And watch how Ayo is going to use his eyes to look off this defender, which creates a wide open runway for him to attack into. I also like this move. Even though Ayo gets his shot swatted, watch him again slow down and use his eyes to move this defender off his spot, giving Ayo an open lane to attack into. And this is now a good time to transition and talk about some things Ayo still needs to improve on. Now the first thing that stands out for me is going to be Ayo's finishing around the basket. We've already seen that Ayo has really good length and quickness as a slasher, but outside of attacking into open space and extending into layups, I don't think Dosunmu right now is the most advanced deep paint scorer. The first thing you'll notice on these clips is that Ayo is primarily a straight line driver. Once he commits to his move, he's simply coming downhill and jumping off 1 foot looking to score, which isn't enough to be a consistent deep paint scorer in the NBA. When playing in traffic, Dosunmu very rarely uses his strides to create attacking angles by either using Euros or some different gathers to create finishing angles. And Ayo also doesn't play off 2 feet. He always comes back to jumping off 1 foot and heavily relying on his length to create layups. Take this play for example. You'll see Ayo initially make a nice move by running through the pass and attacking into this gap. But as he starts coming downhill, notice how Paul George from the weak side is sliding over to take away the rim. From this spot, I would love to see Ayo take one more dribble into this open space and maybe use his strides to Euro back across towards his left, or maybe at least put himself in position to make this kickout pass. But Dosunmu instead elects to jump off 1 foot to then try to extend this layup around PG.
Dosunmu to the rim, dismissed by George.
You can see the same thing here, where Ayo is again coming downhill, and notice how this big is just sitting in the paint waiting for him, and he's easily able to time Ayo as he extends into this layup. I would also like to see Ayo improve his patience and navigation out of pick and roll. Whenever Dosunmu is working around these in-between spots, he commonly settles for these more difficult floater and push shots, which I'm not going to say are necessarily bad looks for him. But I do think Ayo can generate better offense if he gets a little more comfortable keeping his dribble alive. Because from these spots, Ayo is a pretty good passer, being able to knife pocket passes through to the roller, as well as run some pick and pop action. But if these playmaking reads don't immediately open up for Ayo, he commonly reverts back to settling for these more difficult extended out looks. Like on this play, you'll see Ayo come off the screen towards his left, and from this spot, I would love to see him put his back into Paul George and let Nikola Vucevic roll towards the basket, which would then open up countless of options for Ayo to both score and pass. But he again picks up his dribble and forces up this tough runner. Now Dosunmu is currently playing in his 3rd NBA season, and it normally takes players a couple of years to really get comfortable navigating out of pick and roll. But offensively, I still think Ayo brings a ton of value with his spot-up shooting, transition scoring, and his ability to put pressure on the rim in the half court. Plus, on top of all that, Ayo is also a really good backcourt defender, where his length and quickness makes him a really effective defender both on and off the ball. I think if Ayo can get a little more comfortable playing with pace and navigating out of pick and roll, as well as add more depth to his 3-point shooting, he could quickly become one of the league's best two-way guards in the years to come. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments who the kid should break down next. The kid's here.